Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran in English Basics for Beginners. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Chapter 19 of the Quran, Mary, the mother of Jesus. Verse number 16. Relate in the book the story of Mary when she withdrew from her family to a place in the east. She placed a screen to screen herself from them. Then we sent to her our angel, and he appeared before her as a man in all respects. She said, I seek refuge from you to Allah, most gracious. Come not near if you do fear God, if you fear Allah. He said, Nay, I am only a messenger from your Lord to announce to you the gift of a holy son. So the role of the messenger is just to announce a message. That is all. He came there, gave the message, and he was gone. Right? Nothing else happened here as what some other people allude. Nothing happened. His role was just say, I've been sent by God to tell you that you have now received a gift of a holy son. Not only an ordinary son, but a holy son, right? And she is amazed. She said, how shall I have a son, seeing that no man has touched me, and I am not unchaste? Mary, the mother of Jesus, alayhi salam, was a pure and chaste woman, an outstanding example of chastity, purity, and a virgin, having not been with any man in any type of shameful or uncomfortable position, right? It is very important to understand that. It is not the same as what some modern women or girls are doing in some countries where they claim to be virgins and they only haven't had, they've got their hymen, but meanwhile they indulge in anal sex or oral sex and so on. That's not virginity. Right? So a virgin, a pure virgin, is a woman who's pure, who's chaste, who hasn't been nude with a man in a room. This is very important to understand. She is a woman of outstanding morals and character, an outstanding human being, pure, and chaste. So she's saying, how shall I have a son, seeing that no man has touched me, and I am not unchaste? She hasn't been involved in kissing or anything like that. Nothing, absolutely nothing. A pure, outstanding woman. And it's very important to understand this concept. He said, so it will be. Your Lord says, that is easy for me. And we wish to appoint him as a sign unto mankind and a mercy from us. It is a matter so decreed. This is a decree of Allah. Right. So let's just pause there for a moment, because Mary, the mother of Jesus, now gets a shock of her life. She gets amazing news that she's going to get a son, but she is baffled. She is baffled because she has never been in the company of a man. She is the true personification of when we talk about chastity. Not what some modern movements or girls say, that they are virgins, but meanwhile they indulge in all other types of sexual activities except vaginal sex, right? That does not make you a virgin, right? So we must be very clear. We must not look for technicalities and loopholes. And the only reason I'm mentioning this, because at some schools that have discussed this matter, and I'm amazed how people try and look for loopholes, right? So the question she is asking, how shall I have a son, seeing that no man has touched me? very important. No man has touched me. So the Quran makes it absolutely clear. And it's important, let's spend just a few minutes on this. Why is the conception of Jesus a miracle? Why? Why? What does medicine and science tell us? Now let us look at it from a medical and a scientific. This pencil is blunt. I'm just going to try and get another pencil here. So let's try and look at it from a medical and a scientific point of view, right? So what does medicine and science tell us? Firstly, let's look at basics. God created Adam and Eve. He created a man and he created a woman. A man got a sperm, a woman got an egg. This is known as a pair. And it is only possible from a sperm and an egg, sperm from a man and an egg from a woman, that it is possible to have reproduction and children and perpetuation of the species and survival of the species. God did not create man and man. It is impossible for man and man to get pregnant. Nor did God create woman and woman. It is impossible for a woman and a woman to get pregnant. Right? God created a man and a woman. It is important for a man to have a sperm and for the woman to have an egg. We're not going to look at the anatomical details that the fallopian tubes must work and all of that. Let's just look at it. Both are healthy and pregnancy can be quite easy and straightforward. Of the 46 chromosomes in the man and the 46 chromosomes in the woman, the sex chromosomes, we find that a sperm has XY chromosomes and the egg has XX chromosomes. This is known as a diploid. And then in the haploid, in one ejaculation, there will be 100 million sperms who are called X, and another 100 million sperms that are called Y. Are we clear on that? Because 100 million X and 100 million Y. You must have, so initially you have diploid, it breaks up into half and half, because the one half comes from the father, one half comes from the mother. In the mother's case, all her eggs are just X. All X. Now, the 200 million sperms, this is one ejaculation. The 200 million sperms at the time of ejaculation, they are having a big race. They are having the biggest swimming Olympic race of their life. This is the swimming championships. If the X sperm wins the race, then X plus X is equal to a female. Are we clear on that? Because XX is equal to female. If the Y sperm wins the race out of 200 million sperms, then the first sperm to get to the egg is a Y sperm, so Y plus X is equal to a male. Are we clear on that? It is the Y that determines the gender, that this is a boy, and it is the X that says this is a girl. So this is a girl, and this is a boy. So the only place where a Y can come from is from the man, because the woman doesn't have a Y. Are we clear on that? I'm just making it very, very simple, very, very basics, and this is a very important point, the Y sperm. The Y only comes from the man. Woman only have XX. Man got one X, one Y. Right? Are we clear on that? So if the X sperm wins, you have a female. If the Y sperm wins, you have the male. Now, in the case of Mary, now this happens in All human beings. Man, woman have sex, they will either have a female or a male. Simple. In the case of Mary, peace and blessings be upon her, an amazing thing has happened which cannot be explained by medical science. It is impossible to explain this because Mary's diploid chromosome is XX. Now, Mary is supposed to have a man here, a male, in order for her to fall pregnant. Are we clear on that? But there's no male. Nobody, nothing. Nothing exists. Now, by the decree of God, by the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a woman who is chaste, who is pure, who is a virgin, who has never been near a man, has never kissed a man, has never been intimate with a man, has never been alone with a man in a bedroom, has never been alone with a man. She was always involved in worship in the temple. A very pious woman, very holy person, very pious, right? Got no time for all of these hanky-panky things, right? She now has pregnancy. She gives birth to a holy son known as Jesus. Peace and blessings be upon him. The amazing thing about Jesus is that he is a boy. And a boy is what? X, Y. Are we clear on that? Where did this Y come from? Because Mary is only XX. We don't have a Y. Where did the Y come from? This is what medicine cannot explain and science cannot explain. So if medicine and science cannot explain something, that it is impossible for a woman who is XX to give birth to a boy who is XY. If she would have given birth to a girl, then one could say, okay, that's XX and that's XX. One can get by with it, although it's very difficult to say that without a man. But one can say, okay, all right, that's XX and that's XX. But to say that a female with a diploid XX chromosome, all her haploids, all the haploids, every one of them are all XXXXXXXXX. There's no single Y. Where did this Y come from? So because it is a medical and scientific impossibility, we call that a miracle. Because it cannot be explained by science and medicine. It is impossible. The only reason it happened is because it is the decree of God, the decree of Allah. Allah willed it so and it happened. Because Allah can do anything. People make a mistake now, and I'm going to go very slowly on this. And before I say anything, we always say astaghfirullah, may Allah forgive me for saying or even suggesting these things, but we need to be very clear because this is where people are making a mistake. Some people are making the mistake to say, okay, the angel had sex with her, and that's how she became pregnant. Or God, astaghfirullah, God was intimate with Mary, and that's why Jesus is the Son of God. You see the big mistake we are doing here. Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah. This is blasphemy and a great insult. God was never intimate with Mary, and Jesus is not the Son of God. It is a great insult to say that God had relationships with Mary. Are we clear on that? Yet there are people who are saying that Mary is the mother of God and that Jesus is the Son of God. Where do they get that? Where? If we are saying that Jesus is the Son of God, then you are saying that God had sex with Mary, astaghfirullah, and the sperm came from God, and that's where the Y coming from. This is blasphemy. If we are saying that the angel had sex with Mary, and that's where the Y is coming from, that is a great insult because that is blasphemy. God only has to say kun, be, and it is. And as Muslims, we believe very, very firmly that Mary is chaste, pure. She is a virgin. She has never been with a man. She has not even kissed a man. And very important, we Muslims believe that the hymen of Mary is intact. It is not broken. It is not broken. That means that Mary became pregnant, yet she is a virgin. The hymen is still closed. Nothing is broken. It is only at the time of birth, when Jesus is coming out of the womb, then the head of Jesus now breaks the hymen. Are we clear on that? As far as Jesus is concerned, his head breaks the hymen. Yet from a moral point of view, she's still a chaste virgin, because even after the birth of Jesus, she has never been with a man. She does not know what being with a man is. She does not know that experience. She has remained pure her entire life. She has never been with a man before she got pregnant. She gave birth to Jesus, and she is still a virgin because she has never been with a man. Not before, not after. And that is why she is such an outstanding woman, and that is why Muslims give the highest respect for her. A very honorable and pious woman. But the minute we say that Jesus is the Son of God, we are making a great insult to God, because God does not have to have intimate relationships to have children. I mean, if God wanted children, why didn't he just create Adam and create Adam? Finish. Or God could have created the first man, could have been Jesus. Why didn't just God create Jesus and not create mankind if he wanted a son? But the Quran makes it very clear, God does not have a consort, God does not have a wife. And that's where some of us are making a mistake. Some people are making a mistake where they say that here is God. And then they say Mary is the mother of God. The mother of God. And then they say Jesus is the Son of God. And some people say that Jesus is in fact God. They say Jesus is God, or they call him Lord. Now, does this make sense? God created Mary. We know that. Are we clear on that? God created Mary. But are we saying Mary gave birth to God? How does that work? God creates Mary, and then Mary gives birth to God. So where was God? Was God for 9 months in the womb of Mary? Is it possible for a God, the supreme creator of the heavens and the earth, to be in a womb of a human being for 9 months? So if God was in the womb of Mary, then what was happening? Who was in charge of the world? And Islam therefore makes it very, very clear, worship the creator, not the created things. And ask yourself the question, God created the galaxies, he created the universe, he created the elephant and the trees and the waterfalls and the Mount Everest. Did Mary create the universe? No. Did Mary create the elephant? No. Did Mary create human beings? No. So she cannot be the mother of God, and she cannot be God. Did Jesus create the universe? No. Did Jesus create the stars? No. Did Jesus create the elephant? No. Did Jesus create human beings? No. So Jesus is not God, nor is he the Son of God, but he is a mighty messenger of God. Please let us not make this mistake. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.